Okay, hi guys. I'm gonna go ahead and start on a dark chocolate cake. So it's gonna be a chocolate cake, chocolate icing, everything from scratch. You wanna make sure you have your oven set to 315 for this cake. And you're gonna need two 9-inch cake pans. You can do it in a 13 by 9. I don't know how long it needs to be in the oven for a 13 by 9, but if you're an experienced baker, then you'll know to bake it and just check it and see if it's done. I already have my sugar in here. It's about 2.5 cups of sugar, but I'll put all the measurements and everything in the description box below. So I've got my sugar, and we're gonna add all the dry ingredients to the mixing bowl first. And so this is gonna be white lily flour. I've already sifted it, baking powder, baking soda, salt, all right here. Make sure I didn't get any over there. Yeah. Okay. And then we're gonna add to that some cocoa powder. You can use just Hershey's cocoa powder if you would like. I looked for Hershey's special dark cocoa powder, which I prefer to use for this cake. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I just used, I think it's a Ghirardelli in the blue bag, cocoa powder. That's what I use here. And I sifted that in because, you know, cocoa powder can clump really bad. So that's already been sifted. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. I'm gonna get a spoon or something to get, a little spatula type spoon to get it out of there, get all of it out. And so once you get those dry ingredients added in, you're just gonna mix those together. You can either whisk them together by hand, or you can just use a spoon or something and mix everything together by hand. And then to the dry ingredients, we're gonna add our wet ingredients, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and get that mixed. And for the wet ingredients, we're gonna have use buttermilk, 3 eggs, about 2.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and about 1.5 cups or so of vegetable oil, okay? Okay, I've got that mixed together, and I'm gonna go ahead and get all of the wet added too, and then we're also going to be using, and I'm going to turn I have some coffee here that needs to be boiling hot once it's added. That's going to be towards the end. Okay. Okay, so that's our buttermilk. And then I've got the vanilla right here. It's, I think, 2.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And I've got our vegetable oil, adding that. And I can hear that coffee starting to boil, so I'm going to turn that off in just a second. And once this gets going, I'm gonna add my eggs in one at a time. And I have it's 3 eggs, room temperature, everything at room temperature. You turn that coffee off, it's boiling. And I'm gonna get a longer spatula too, because I can see some stuff at the bottom sticking, which KitchenAid mixers are notorious for that, so. And I have another KitchenAid mixer. I need to pull it out. A girlfriend of mine bought it for me as a gift. I'll go ahead and add an egg. Or I can use my paddle attachment. It's another, I'm gonna pull it out eventually. I just have not done it. Okay, so that egg it's incorporated in. I'm gonna go ahead and add the second one. And now I'm going to add the third one. going to go ahead and scrape the sides of the bowl to make sure we've got all that, everything mixed together pretty well, especially that dry with the baking powder, baking soda. And like I said, KitchenAid mixers are notorious for having stuff stuck at the bottom of the bowl. I know I've been using, this one I've had for, I think my daughter's, one of them's 22 years, this one. And it's got a lot of use out of it. Okay. Now that I think about it, I think I've had this mixer like 25 years. I think 25. So. And I've never had a problem with it. Never had any issues at all. Okay, so let me go ahead and add this coffee. And you want to make sure the coffee's hot. And you can use espresso too. You don't, it could be instant coffee. It can be espresso, regular coffee. It's just whatever you prefer. Okay, so I'm going to slowly add that in to the cake batter. And I'm going to go ahead and start mixing. Glad I grabbed that really quick. I forgot that was sitting there. I'm going to go ahead and add some more. And the addition of this hot coffee, it makes the cake really moist. It's going to be very, very loose. The batter's going to be loose and liquidy, but don't pay attention to that. The cake is going to come out perfect. So try not to let that like distract you or make you think that there's something going on with it. And I will show you how it's, once I get through mixing, I'll be sure to show it to you so you can see what it looks like. And just don't be alarmed when you see it, because that's the way it's supposed to be. So like I said, this is about 1.5 cups of coffee. Okay, and so like I said, the batter's going to be loose. Try not to let that distract you, and because that's the way it's supposed to look. Another piece of wax paper. And like I said, I'll show you what it's going to look like, just so you know that you're on track and there's nothing wrong or whatever. I'll show it to you in just a second. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. That's the consistency. You can see that. Okay, so let me get my 9-inch baking cake pans, and so I can go ahead and get these placed, get them placed in the oven. And I'll normally use like Baker's Joy or Pam for baking, but there's a guy on YouTube, and I'll put his information in the description box below. I can't remember his name. I think it's like Chef Charles or something like that. He has this whole formula of how to powder his cake pans. I think he's like a baking chef, by trade. And so I'll link him below as well, so you can see. He uses flour and Crisco or something like that. But I'll link his information in the description box, so you can go on his YouTube channel if you're not familiar, and see how he primes his cake pans and things for baking. Okay, so we're just going to distribute this evenly between both of the cake pans. Some people will measure it out using like, measuring cup or what have you. I just eye it, If it looks even, it's even. It's just, you know, I eyeball a lot of stuff, cooking, seasoning stuff and all that. It's just, some people are more technical and some just kind of, you know, it's from just growing up cooking and baking, and so. All right. It's looking pretty good. Put a little bit more in this one. And I have my oven on convection, so it's not going to take it as long to bake as it would in a normal, just on a normal baking setting. So I have it on 315, like I said. And I think I'm going to turn it down maybe to about 310, because like I said, my oven gets really hot. And chocolate is easy to dry out. I don't like a dry chocolate cake, and it's so easy to happen. It is so easy to dry out chocolate. It just is. So I think I'm going to turn it down to 310, maybe 305, but I'll start with 310 and see what happens. And I'm going to put these in the oven for to start off about 20 minutes, and we'll see what ends up happening. So you see that it's in the pan. I'm going to tap these just to get the air out. Okay. All right, and let's see. All right, so I've got these in the oven, and so I will check back with you all in about 20 minutes or so when the cake is done, okay? All right. Okay, so I just got one of the cakes out of the oven. My hands are clean, and it is ready. And there's another, I'm about to get the other one out as well. Let me see. Let me just check that one real quick. I'm going to give it about another minute or so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this one out, and I'm going to let these cool, and I'm going to bring you all back on in just a couple minutes to make the frosting for the cake, so you all can see how the frosting is made. But we're going to let these cool for just a minute, and then we'll frost the cake. Okay, guys, so I'm about to make the chocolate frosting for the cake, and you're going to notice like that I've already put a crumb coating around these layers of cake. But I'm gonna, when I take the paper off, you're gonna see it. So I did do that pre-video, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you all how to make the chocolate frosting. And just remember, if you're using a KitchenAid mixer when you start with your frosting, be sure to use your paddle attachment. With this particular mixer, I don't have a paddle attachment. Like I said, I've had this mixer for many, many years. I think I probably threw the attachment away or what have you. But so I'm going to be using my whisk attachment. I am going to pull out my new mixer. I have it's still in the box. I need to pull it out. But anyway, I just don't feel like it. But so I'm going to use my whisk attachment, but just remember to use your paddle attachment, because you don't want your butter to get like a lot of air in it or what have you. But I'm going to go ahead and it'll adjust the consistency of the frosting. But I'm going to use my whisk attachment just for this, so I can go ahead and get this video out to you guys. But just know, use your paddle attachment, okay? Let me get the butter. And the butter needs to be room temperature. You don't want it to be melted at all. So mine is room temperature. And in the summertime in the South, room temperature could be 90 degrees. And so that's not ideal. You want it to be room temperature where you can just stick your finger in there and it just kind of makes an indentation, but it still holds its shape. That's the consistency that you want your stick of butter to be, okay? So I just want to make sure that I clarified that, because honey, if you live in Georgia or Alabama or Arkansas, Louisiana, my room temperature in the summertime, like I said, is sweltering, and and you know, and your butter will probably be melted sitting on the countertop. So I just want to make sure I prefaced it with that. So, okay. So we're going to just whip this butter for a few minutes, and then I'll bring you back on to show the consistency of the butter. But like I said, mine is going to be with a whisk attachment, so my consistency may be a little bit better, a little bit different. When I pull my new mixer out, I'll probably do a buttercream frosting video just to show you all again, but I did want to go ahead and get this chocolate cake video completed. So but I'll bring you all back and show you the consistency of that butter. Okay. So this is the consistency of the butter. I may continue whipping it for a little while, a little bit longer. But to this, we're gonna add 3 cups of powdered sugar. And you're gonna wanna sift your powdered sugar. That way your buttercream frosting won't be grainy or gritty. For this cake, it's a chocolate cake. Normally I will do white icing for my chocolate cake. So if you prefer to have a white icing for your chocolate cake, then you'll want to add in vanilla. You want to use clear vanilla. I know, you know, when you use the brown vanilla, it'll change the color of your white frosting to kind of an off-white or kind of a, you know, kind of a cream color. So I tend to use clear vanilla flavoring for my white frosting. But for this frosting, I'm going to do chocolate. And so, like I said, it's 3 cups of powdered sugar. You're going to want to sift that powdered sugar. And then the Hershey's cocoa, you're going to want to sift that as well. Okay. And just make sure that it's very, you know, sifted so that your buttercream frosting comes out smooth and not gritty, grainy, or anything like that. Okay. So I'm going to whip this some more, and I'll show you what the end result is, and then I'll sift in the powdered sugar and everything. So I'll be right back. Okay, and so this recipe, I've halved it, but the recipe normally calls for 2 sticks of butter, 6 cups of powdered sugar, and 1/4 of a cup or so of cocoa. So I'm doing 3 cups of powdered sugar, sifted, 1 stick of salted butter, and about 1/8 of a cup of cocoa. I'm trying to make sure that's about 1/8 of a cup. And you can use unsalted butter if you would like. Okay, I buy salted. That's what I have here, so this one I'm going to use. But this is what it looks like now that I've whisked it some more. But like I said, paddle attachment. Okay, all right. So get that connected. I'm going to take this whisk off for just a second so I can sift in the sugar a little bit easier. I'm going to start with the cocoa powder. Let me go dump out these little drops. Okay, and then I'm going to add in the powdered sugar. And you can do it separately. You can just add in your powdered sugar, mix with the paddle attachment, then add in your cocoa powder. I'm trying not to make a mess. You can do it that way. I'm just going to add it all at one time. And you can also, when I do white buttercream frosting, I'll use half vanilla and half almond extract. I like the way that flavor, the almond extract with my buttercream frosting, it tastes really good. Okay, you dump those rocks out. And I'm going to mix really quick, and then I'll add some more powdered sugar. Just to blend some and then add some more powdered sugar. And then you're also going to want to use some whipping cream as well. And I'm going to add a few drops of whipping cream. And I will say this too, low and slow is the best way to go for the buttercream frosting. I have an event I have to go to, so that's why I'm kind of rushing it. But it's low and slow. So please, even when you're creaming your butter, slow is the best way to go with it. And it's not just because all this came out either. KitchenAid has like a plastic guard to prevent that. I don't use it, but it's low and slow. It's just so that you have a creamier, better textured frosting. Okay. Okay, and I'll show you what it looks like so far, and then we're gonna add some more sugar. See, that's what it looks like. And so if you want to have a darker chocolate frosting, because the more sugar I add, it's gonna get lighter, then use a darker cocoa powder than just this regular Hershey's. Okay. I'm gonna remove this whisk and sift in the rest of this powdered sugar. Put that there. And I'll tell you, frosting is not that hard to make, and it's better than store frosting. And you can, when you taste store frosting, like it tastes like it's got a lot of chemicals in it, and it's not good. And I know people have to do what they have to do in a bind, but I mean, it's actually cheaper just to, if it's an economic thing, it's cheaper to make your own frosting. But for some people, it may be a time thing. So, they don't have the time, but I'll just tell you, frosting, making it yourself, it tastes better. And it doesn't have all those preservatives and chemicals that the frosting that's on the store shelves has. And I haven't had store frosting in years, and I bought some months ago. Maybe it wasn't even some months ago. It might have been like a month ago. And it was terrible. I bought 2 or 3 different flavors. I'm not going to say who it was or who it was by, but it's a large company, so I'm sure you can kind of just, meaning a large, international company. And it was terrible. It was terrible. All 3 of the ones that I bought, they were just disgusting. That's what I'll say. They were disgusting. Okay, let me go ahead and get this mixed. And I'm gonna edit out some of this mixing time, so the video won't be so long. But just know that when you're doing low and slow, just expect to have a lengthy mixing time. Okay, I don't mean lengthy like an hour, but it's gonna be 2 to 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So just know that. It won't be captured on the video, but just know that it's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes each time you add something to get it combined. And I'm going to scrape my sides, and see with the paddle attachment that it has the scraper on there too. You wouldn't have to scrape your sides so much, but you still have to scrape up the bottom, with the KitchenAid. But that's the beauty of having that paddle attachment, especially the one that has the scraper on it. And hopefully by the next time I do a baking video, another cake, because I think I'm going to do a couple of cakes this week, I'll have my new mixer up that has the paddle attachment. I will. I'm going to pull it out with eyes. I just have to take the time to do it. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like so far, and I'm just going to add the rest of that sugar after. But that's what it looks like. Okay, so it looks kind of like a milk chocolate. And I'm going to taste it without the vanilla flavoring just to see if I like the way that it tastes. But I'm probably going to end up adding some vanilla flavor. Let's see. And after this addition, I'm gonna also add some more whipping cream. And when you all see me ice this cake, I am not a professional cake icer or whatever you wanna. My sister is really good at it. She can take a spoon, she can take a butter knife, and honey, have that cake looking like it was professionally iced. So she's way better at it than I am. I wish she was here with me right now, but I'm gonna do the best that I can. I can make frosting, I can pipe frosting, but in terms of putting it on the layers and all that and having it look all nice, and that's never been my forte. Maybe I should take a class or teach myself, because I know I could do it. I think it's like I don't feel like I don't have the time, but you know what, I could make the time and master it too. Use that spoon and kind of, yeah, I think it's just probably like lazy. And when my sister's here on like the holidays and stuff and I have a cake, I'm like, will you ice my cake, please? She always, and she's a gadget freak too. Like she'll have the spinning, I mean, all these different things. I wish I'm not the gadget, but she is, and she's awesome. She's phenomenal. Okay, all right. So I've got those the sugar rocks over there. I'm going to add my whisk attachment back to this mixer. I know, and my other mixer, I could just get the paddle attachment out of there, but it's a bigger one. It's one of those professional mixers, so I don't think the attachment would work on this one. So I'll pull that mixer out. I will. I'm gonna do it one day this week. Let me add some whipping cream. And I don't think it's the professional. I think it's the one in between this and the professional. It's that middle one. Okay, so I'm gonna scrape the sides down, and it's some sugar on the sides. Did I get chocolate on that? No, I didn't. Okay, and like I said, I've got to get one of my children dressed too. She's still young, so I still have to kind of get her dressed. We have an event to go to, so I'm gonna try to speed this up some. And I'm not doing a lot of frosting because my kids don't like a lot of frosting. But if I decide that this is going to be a cake that I try to advertise to sell locally, then I'll probably do another batch of frosting and have it with more icing. And I probably more than likely will end up trying to sell it because we're not going to eat all this cake. Okay, all right, that looks really good. I'm gonna grab a tasting spoon and taste it to see what it tastes like. See if I wanna add vanilla to it or not. I got my little Baskin Robbins tasting spoon. I love their little pink spoons. It's good. I'm gonna debate for just a minute on whether or not I wanna add vanilla, because it's really good just like it is to me, but I may add like a drop of vanilla or something. Let me mix this some more. And then I'm gonna show you too so you all can see the color. I know you can see the color of it right there on the whisk, but that's, okay. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna get all the frosting off of the whisk, and I will bring you all back on when I start frosting the cake, okay? Okay, guys, so I'm bringing you back on. I've got the cake iced on the top. I've still got to do the sides, but you can kind of see, I just wanted to at least expose some of the cake right there so you can see it. But I've got to do the sides. I have not completed that part of it. But like I said, I did a crumb coating on the bottom, and meaning underneath, you know, to catch all those crumbs. And now I'm going in and applying the top layer of frosting. So I just wanted to at least let you all kind of see the process just a little bit. And just to, you know, so you all wouldn't think I just went and bought a cake or something and brought it back with icing, with icing on it. It is the same cake that I pulled out of the oven. But now I'm just icing it. And like I said, I don't have a, one of those icing knives or whatever they are. So I'm just using a spoon. And when I get done with the cake, icing all of it, I will bring you all back on. I will cut it so you all can see the inside, and I'll bring you all back on to see that part of it as well, okay? All right, I just want to let you, just wanted you all to see the progress. Like I said, you do a crumb coating first to catch all your crumbs, and then you're going to go on top of that with your icing, the way that you're wanting it to look, okay? All right, I'll bring you all back when I cut the cake. Okay, y'all, so this is the finished process of the cake. I've got it all iced, and you see there are no crumbs or anything like that. Got it all finished, and I'm going to give it a cut so you all can see the inside of the cake. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Hold on for just a sec. I'll bring you all back when I get ready to cut it. Hold on. Okay, so let me grab a knife and cut this cake so you all can see what it looks like on the inside. And this is a homemade chocolate cake. This is not, something you get from the bakery or what have you. It's homemade, all scratch. And I'm not a perfect cake cutter either. And I tend to give kids huge pieces of cake that they don't need. Anyway, so that's the cake right there. And it's very moist. Let me grab a fork so you all can see. See that? And I'm going to do like this. See how that, look at that. It is so good. And I know people watch YouTube, videos and like, well, would you say it was terrible? If it was dry, I'd tell you. I'd say it. I'd be like, this is dry. I'm gonna have to redo it. This is excellent. And it's not real sweet either. The icing gives it just that hint of sweetness. And I'm sitting here eating because I love sweets. So it's good. Really, really good. And you can you can tell it's moist. How dense it is. Okay, so I invite you guys to make this recipe for yourself. And I sold this cake when I had a confection business. It's excellent. It's always good. And so if you're looking for a moist chocolate cake recipe, because like I said, chocolate cake is so hard, it gets dry so easy. But if you're looking for a good chocolate cake recipe, this is the one to use. It will come out moist each and every time. Just don't over bake it. Don't have your oven too high. And so know your oven. And, it will come out spectacular every time. All right. Well, I will see you all again here at 234 in La Casa. Thank you for joining me. And I will be back with more recipes and more suggestions as well. I've got some viewer suggestions, so I'll be back with more videos. You all have a happy, happy Sunday. And thank you so much. See y'all next time.